So we have read Dear Juno. What was the first thing we did before we even opened the book?
The first thing we did was predict.
Predict, which means to what?
To think what's going to happen.
To think about what's going to happen. Destiny, what were you going to say?
To think what the story's about based on the cover, based on the picture.
So she said to think about what the story will say based on the cover. So based on the
Cover.
what's it called? Starts with a P. Picture or
Photograph.
could be a photograph. Remember, that's one of the words in here. What did you guys think it was going to be about? Andrea.
I think that it was going to be about a boy opening up a letter and probably sending it to someone.
So Andrea thought it might be about a boy opening up a letter to write to someone. How many of you thought that Juno was the main character? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of you thought that Juno is the boy on the cover, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
How many of you thought that Juno was the boy, how many of you thought the boy on the cover is who Juno was writing to? No one? You all thought this little boy was Juno?
Josiah.
So 3 of you thought that this was the boy that Juno was writing to. What did we find out once we read the book?
That it
Yes.
Juno was the boy receiving the letter, and we found out other main characters.
So we found out that Juno is the boy. He's the what character? Main character. I'm going to read it to you one more time, and we are going to talk about what the story is about. And this time, I will actually show you the pictures. Dear Juno, is it the same tree they're sitting under?
No.
No. So are they at the same place?
No.
No. Juno watched as the red and white blinking lights soared across the night sky like shooting stars and waited as they disappear into faraway lands. Juno wondered where they came from. He wondered where they were going, and he wondered if any of the places came from a little town near Seoul, where his grandmother lived and where she ate persimmons every evening before bed. Where is Seoul? Destiny.
Seoul is a place in Korea.
In Korea.
Town.
What are persimmons?
A fruit.
A fruit.
Or vegetable.
Next time, don't yell out at them, raise your hand. They are a fruit, not a vegetable. They grow on a
Plant.
Destiny. Not a plant.
Tree.
Andrea.
A tree.
A tree. Juno looked at the letter that came that day. It was long and white and smudged, which means were the letters perfectly clear? No, they ran to
They ran
to
They were
together.
Yeah.
They ran together. He saw the red and blue marks on the edges, and he knew the letter came from far away. His name and address were neatly printed on the front, so he knew the letter was for him. But best of all, the special stamp on the corner told Juno that the letter was from his grandmother. Through the window, Juno could see his parents. He saw bubbles growing in the sink. He saw dirty dishes waiting. He knew he would have to wait for their cleaning to be done. Maybe I can read the inside too, Juno said to his dog, Sam. Sam wagged his tail, which means he
Shaked it. Like
really
Back and
moving fast. He moved it really fast, back and forth. Very carefully, Juno opened the envelope. Ashley, what is an envelope?
An envelope is
What do you put inside of it?
it's like that. Stationery?
Like stationery. Another word for stationery is, Adam?
paper.
Paper. You put paper inside, a letter, maybe a bill. Inside, he found a letter folded into a neat, small square. He unfolded it. Tucked inside were a picture and a dried flower. Juno looked at the letters and words he couldn't understand. He pulled out the photograph. It was a picture of his grandmother holding a cat. He pulled out the red and yellow flower. It felt light and gentle, like a dried leaf. Juno smiled. "Come on, Sam," Juno said. "Let's find Mom and Dad. Now that you guys can see the pictures, can you make out what the words look like?"
No.
What are they? Starts with an S. Destiny.
Spell.
I heard it over here, Antonio.
Smudge.
Not smudged. I thought I heard it. It's what they used in ancient Egypt instead of letters. Or instead of... Selena. Symbols. So instead of having letters, they have symbols that represent things. So instead of spelling house, like we spell house with our letters, they use a picture of a house in certain languages. How many of you made the prediction that Juno could not read the letter because he could not read? Most of you. How many of you made the prediction that Juno could not read the letter because it was in a different language? Not so many of you. You assumed Juno couldn't read. How many of you had the correct prediction? 1, 2, 3. His grandmother was from where? Seoul. Which is probably a different country than where he was living. So he speaks what? Destiny. He speaks English. Remember we talked about this? Some of you have grandparents and relatives who don't speak English, so you have to have someone else help you. That's what Juno did. Who read his letter?
His parents.
His parents. So Grandma has a new cat, Juno said as he handed the letter to his mother. And she's growing red and yellow flowers in her garden. How do you know she has a new cat? She wouldn't send me a picture of a strange cat. I guess not, said Juno's father. How do you know the flower is from her garden? Asked Juno's mother. She wouldn't send me a picture of a flower from someone else's garden, said Juno. No, she wouldn't, said Juno's mother. Then Juno's mother read him the letter. How many of you predicted that he used the photographs to figure out what the letter was? Sometimes you have to do that. When you can't read something, you have to look at those pictures. How many of you have read a keep out sign, but it's just a red circle with a slash through it? You have to know what that means, don't you?
Yes.
Even if you couldn't read keep out, you know if it's red and has a slash through it, don't go in. Dear Juno, how are you? I have a cat to keep me company. I named him Juno, after you. He can't help me weed, but the rabbits no longer come to eat my flowers. Grandma, just like you read it yourself, Juno's father said. I did read it, Juno said. Yes, you did, said his mother. Did he read it?
No.
Not through the words, Ariane. How did he read it?
He read it through the pictures.
Through the pictures. How many of you thought your predictions were wrong once you saw it written in English? I saw some of you erasing your predictions and I told you not to. Jalen, did you think it was wrong once you saw it in English? Because then you assumed that Juno couldn't what? Read. At school, Juno showed his class his grandma's picture and dried flower. His teacher even pinned the letter on the board, which means she did what?
She clipped it.
She put it on the board. Juno looked at the letter. Did his grandmother like getting letters too? Yes, Juno thought. She likes getting letters just like I do. So Juno decided to write one. After school, Juno ran into his backyard. He picked a leaf from the swinging tree, the biggest leaf he could find. I'm going to write a letter, he told his mother. I'm sure it will be a very nice letter, she said. Yes, it will. First, he drew a picture of his mom and dad standing outside the house. Second, he drew a picture of Sam playing underneath the big swinging tree. Then carefully, Juno drew a picture of himself standing under an airplane in a starry nighttime sky. After he was finished, he placed everything in the envelope. Look at the pictures that he drew. Can you see the tree?
Yes.
Does he put it in all of his pictures?
Not in all.
Not in the one he's drawn.
Not in the one of himself, but over here.
Yes.
Who is under that tree? Who did he draw a picture of? Antonio.
His mom, his dad, and his dog Sam.
So he drew his mom and his dad over here on this one, but under the tree over here, who did he draw? Medea. His dog, Sam. His dog, Sam. Do you think his grandma will be smart and think, that must be Juno's dog?
Maybe.
Maybe. Juno was smart and knew that that was his grandmother's cat. Here's my letter, Juno announced proudly. You can read it if you want. Juno's father looked in the envelope. He pulled at the leaf. Only a big swinging tree could grow a leaf this big, he said. It takes a good artist to say so much with a drawing. It's just like a real letter, Juno's father said. It is a real letter, Juno said. It certainly is, said his mother. Even though he didn't use his words, what did he use? Angel. His pictures. And here we have his grandmother looking at the leaf. Do you think she's thinking the same thing Juno was when he got it?
Yes.
Do you think that she thinks he just picked up a random leaf from the street?
No.
Probably not. He might have, but we know he didn't. And look at her cat. She's sleeping on the envelope.
Like I love this envelope.
One day, a big envelope came. It was from Juno's grandmother. This time, Juno didn't wait at all. He opened the envelope right away. Inside, Juno found a box of colored pencils. He knew she wanted another letter. Next, he pulled out a picture of his grandmother. He noticed she was sitting with a cat and 2 kittens. Let's make a prediction. What do you think he's going to draw next? Ashley.
Maybe him and his dog.
Maybe he and his dog? But what does his grandma send him a picture of? Adam.
Her and her cat.
She and her kittens. Remember we said a kitten was a
Baby cat.
baby cat. A puppy is a
Puppy.
baby dog. So maybe the new cat she had kittens. We don't know, but maybe it did. He thought for a moment and laughed. Now his grandmother would have to find a new name for her cat. In Korea, Juno was a boy's name, not a girl. So what did we just learn about Korea? Yes.
That Juno was a boy's name?
That Juno is a boy's name, not a girl's name.